So that was fairly painless to just add device, and it was like, oh, wait a minute, yeah, there's this C. I have no idea what a C7 is. This is just a generic thing from Amazon. Does 1080p even though it says 4K on the box, but even the adapter cable that's going from DisplayPort to HDMI only does 1080p, so I don't know why they put 4K on these things when they don't really support it. But anyway, I'm not going to click OK there. I'm going to minimize this window. And I want to see, as I can see in the OBS window, there's like the red box around where it's showing what it's recording on the screen. And I can see when that goes to like less than full screen, I guess. I also remember Buildzoid having issues with some capture card, like anytime it changed resolution from BIOS to desktop or something like that, it would have issues. So I have no idea if this is going to work at all. And I have no idea if this is... Okay, it is set up to be that. Alright. Yeah. I don't remember where I left off, but I think it was like the desert community with... That's right. I gotta stop moving the mouse when I click, because Sony interfaces are that way for some reason. If there's any mouse movement at all when you go to click, it thinks you're trying to drag and it doesn't actually select things. So this is, what was that, 1800p downscaled via VSR to 1080p. So it's not quite 4 samples per pixel, but maybe the capture card... Okay, that's just the effect of the ring around the fire emblem. For a second, I thought that was ghosting. I'm like, there's no TAA here, is there? I don't have the GPU monitor going. That's the other thing. I should fire that up. Which I think this will let me do that. Let's get low. Let's get into the grass. This is the kind of area that Monster Hunter Wilds would be absolutely struggling and getting like 20 FPS. I'm rendering at not 1080p, but 1800p and downscaling it, and this is still fairly smooth. I mean, yeah, at 20 FPS, you could see that. Really bad with the stutter. So I'm looking at around the grass here in the field. Is it doing like that stair-stepping like effect? I'm looking at the edges of these things on her arm to see if there's like weird anomalies, like glitter effect. And I am just not seeing that with it downscaled to 1080p like this. Unfortunately, modern anti-aliasing will take the raw image of your screen, 1 sample per pixel or less if you're using RT, because RT skips every 4th pixel or worse to... Anyway, yeah. Real anti-aliasing will take multiple samples per pixel and then compile that into native resolution. They have like this weird pattern where they offset the samples a little bit at a diagonal, which helps smooth over edges, which just VSR downscaling isn't doing, but this is pretty good from what I'm looking at so far. And it looks like OBS is actually capturing the full screen, so I'm going to do an Alt-Tab. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to get me my FPS monitor. Now, I have no idea if the thing's actually capturing the windows of monitor, because the whole desktop goes blank on that, but I'm waiting for the information to show up right here. There you go. Now I can go back to this. And I now have a mini little display because it's being downscaled along with everything else. But we can still see that. That's good. Yeah, it's like overlapping with Go to the Place of the Sun, which I already did in this save. You watch the outro and everything, and then it dumps you back in just before the main battle at the end. So you can go do that again, or go and do all the other quests, and, well... I kind of did all the other quests before going to the end of this game, because, yeah, I wasn't quite thinking that. I was thinking there'd be, like, other stuff, maybe. Or at least you could walk around and look at the aftermath of the last battle, but you can't even do that. It just dumps you in before the last battle, so it's like, yeah. But at least it's cool to walk around and check out all the other places you've been and look at it again and be able to do stuff. Man, that looks good. That looks so good. Alright. I think I can actually... I don't think I have to go to a fireplace to, like, look at other things, so let's teleport up there. Let's take a look at a different environment from... Alright, 7 days to die. It takes so long loading the screen. It may be better because I did replace the hard drive, but I'm just gonna splice that in after. And cut out all the loading screens. Ooh, and get like a really close image here. Hopefully it's not too but yeah, like the edges of this, it's not stair stepping in like that, like white and black glittery along these edges. That looks really sharp and good, unlike TAA. I mean, even these things over here, how the edges go like that, that's what I was enjoying, but without a video capture card external, OBS was only capturing like the top left corner of the screen, so you weren't actually seeing any of the downscaling. This flicker back here... Okay, that's just the snow effect, I think.
There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. You can't be a one-hunter warrior.
Yeah, that's the snow and the fog, but
In the old days, the mad sun king...
let's see what's over there. Because opacity maps and trees is something that's really difficult anyway, so... I see something red over her head there. Right there. Now I'm curious as to what that is, but right now I'm just trying to get an image in the trees here. Where's the sun? Maybe that's what it is. It was the sun versus opacity maps and fog effect all conflicting with each other, maybe.
The mad sun king's cruelty survives me. Even if we can trust Meridian.
That's exactly what it is. It's the fog. Can I crank that up at all? Okay, it's not reflections. I mean, maybe. Give it a try. I mean, worst it happens is it doesn't affect that. Reflections, I doubt it's that. Motion blur is just pretty much what it says. It blurs everything when you move, which is, well, why turn that on if I'm trying to get away from TAA?
Sunfall still stands.
It's only when I hit just the right angle too, so maybe that, yeah, that's probably what I'm seeing there, is that the sun versus whatever. Yeah, that's nagging me. What's in that direction? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, what I'm probably seeing is the furnaces and stuff up in here. And maybe the effect of the volcano. Yeah, I wasn't exactly expecting to see a blizzard out here, but... yeah, those flags are a little questionable. Even these things right here, I'm seeing a little bit of flicker from when I move. That's probably because I'm not exactly doing a 2-to-1 pixel reduction. That is impressive, actually. There's a few anomalies here and there, but I'm not really sure if that was there without VSR. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at old videos. So I do remember when I dropped this down to that one and the other one, there was noticeable flicker around the edges of the armor. And looks like OBS has still got this, so if I can, I have to like get up against a ledge or something like this, and then there we go. So yeah, I can see a little bit of stepping on this, and the edge isn't quite as nice as it was when it was at 1800p step down. But the question is, do we have the flicker? Do we have the flicker in the, looking at those red lights on the left? Yeah. I see that. Now, if I go down to native 1080p, is it still there? Yep. Alright, so that is absolutely not an effect of downscaling. That's just in the game. And there isn't a setting in there for fog and smoke effects, so... Get over here. There we go. Over there like that. Let's... Yeah. You can see how harsh this is, and the pixeling along this edge right here. And right there. And right there. Real bad right there. So it'd be nice to have like some setting somewhere to help get rid of the flickering from some of the lights. But what was that? Clouds? Yeah, that's just sky. So I'm gonna put that back at 1800 because that actually looked good. And I'll just deal with the GPU being near 90% usage all the time. So. Yeah, she does the complain about the cold even when she's in the Inuit outfit, so that's just a realm effect. It's not like she's actually cold from wearing this. So that looks pretty good, actually, aside from the flicker and the fog. And usually I don't even like playing in the fog because I want to see the mountains out there and the terrain and everything. I have no idea what the ratio is of, like, bad days to clear days in this biome.
A friend of mine has settled in Stoneview now that the bandits are gone.
So I can go to the fireplace and just be happy here, I guess. No, that's not what I want. I want the map. Let's go someplace warm. There was the naming cliff I was looking at in one video. If I remember correctly, it was up here somewhere, I think. And there was something, I think, or am I like way further? No, I'm way further north. Okay, that's why it doesn't look right. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, it's right up there. I'm looking for this fireplace here and the trails and stuff, and so if I look in this direction, I'll be able to see roughly where it is, but I won't actually be able to see it because it's on the other side of the mountain from there. I mean, there's a mod somewhere that gets rid of the invisible walls and won't teleport you back to your last save point, and you can use that to go through walls. And that is very interesting right here. That doesn't exactly look right. All I did was turn off the... Oh yeah, maybe it was the distortion towards the side of the screen. But if I... Okay, so you can kind of climb around that side of this. It's a lot easier to start from this side and just go up the ridge. But on the other side of this mountain here is the naming cliff that faces the other way. And these things here at the very intro is where Frost is like climbing up the cliff face with Aloy on his back kind of thing. And I was kind of hoping... I mean, this is still kind of clear right now. I can... Oh yeah, that is nice. It's a little stuttery right now as I'm trying to place the camera into that cliff there, but... I mean, if I squint, I can almost see some pixeling there, but that is a lot better than TAA. And that looks really nice out there. No fuzzing or blurring on the monitor, just regular fog where the fog and the clouds are supposed to be, and clear where it's not. You can make out the edges on things. You're not looking at the game and thinking that you need to go to the doctor and get an eyeglasses prescription. I'm tempted to press F12, but GOG doesn't do that for screen caps because this looks incredible. I'm looking at that there, and there's like a building way off in that direction that has like a viewpoint on top of it, and then there's this hut here. Okay, I see a little bit of stepping on this right here. That's a rope that goes across, and I think there's something down here that you have to take out as like a side quest or something down there. And the rope just goes from above her head there to above her head there, and then you can climb down on both sides, I guess. I guess you're supposed to run around in circles and then trap the thing. I don't remember what it was because... I think it was honestly years ago that I was at that level and actually playing the game, and since then I've been just kind of running around and taking a look at different areas of the environment. Yeah, a little closer, that looks really nice. I mean, I do see, yeah, I do see a little bit of speckle on the edges. But I could probably up this a little bit higher for a proper multiple pixel, or multiple sample per pixel thing. I want to F12 this. That is incredible. Yeah, that's alright. There's a train ground down that way somewhere. So anyway, the big test was to see if this capture card thing would work with OBS and actually get the full screen instead of just a corner of it, so that looks incredible. Both her armor and the environment behind her there. So I'm actually going to go back to that fire spot, and then I'll... Yeah, we'll go ahead and save this here. So the capture card is absolutely working. So there's been an update to 7 Days to Die, so I have no idea what's going to happen to my former save, but I'm going to go look at that next. So we'll be back in a bit. God damn it. Alright, anyway. I go over to the other window to click start recording on OBS, and the game goes back to 1080p. But yeah, right there on this railing, you can see the stepping, you can see that, you can see the flicker over there, all that stuff, because It's like one sample per pixel opacity maps, and yeah, that's it's horrible. Oh, we'll go back to 1800p. Still a little bit of flicker there, but not as bad with this. I need to enter a particular mode to finish doing stuff. I don't know if it reset this particular save or not, because the update for the game, because I never did that thing in the top right corner. I came over here to fuss with the wall around that and to finish working on this prefab. But yeah, I can see some anomalyage there, but this really looks a lot better for the most part on the edges and things with it downscaled. That the flicker on that railing, it's still there, but it's not as bad as it was at 1080p, and the Moria patterns. I don't think there is a fix for the Moria patterns unless I go with a genuine FSAA with the slightly angled samples per pixel. But unfortunately, VSR doesn't exactly do that. This I think is doing okay, and it's only using like, I'm seeing like 70s in the corner there for GPU usage, so that is incredible. Unfortunately, when I go to hit F12, it captures, Steam will capture the output buffer for the game at 1800p instead of what's on the screen here. It downscaled at 1080p, but yeah, I really didn't do much in this game. I spawned somewhere down here. That's right, I spawned there, I flew down, looked at something down here that I had changed, teleported over here, because I have like a little tower sitting there. I grabbed all the tools I use for like building prefabs, and then I teleported up here and started working on this. So there is an update to the game, which means I probably changed like the spawn ratio of these ore deposits. I mean, it's almost ironic that for a month I'd come up here and I'd survey this area looking for like a nice deposit next to the road that I could turn into like a staging area for this biome, and there was nothing. And as soon as I said to hell with it, I went back to I think it was 2.1 game, and I grabbed a nice collection of ore deposits up there, turned it into a prefab, and placed it here. As soon as I did that, it starts like, well, okay, here's a couple of iron deposits. I think this was lead. Yeah, here's a lead deposit. I don't know. The other thing too is I don't know about the current update. I think it was B6. Just guessing from memory. 2.4 B. I think possibly. I'm not sure. There was still a lot of ore deposits that only went down like 10 meters, and then they'd stop, and then there was nothing lower down. This I deliberately dug down where there wasn't anything in between all of the other stuff. But this goes in this direction that way, that goes in that direction, so these are actually sitting on top of and probably undercut. And then this whole side is chock full of stuff right up to about where this wall is. So this, from there to there to there to there, that cube that I grabbed from 2.1 is really chocked full of stuff. That and that happened after when I put it in. I was going to start building walls in situ to be a little more organic. I'll run over to these ones over here, because those boxes there, they're just 80 by 80 squares. This, on the other hand, I really like this a lot better. It's more organic, like it was meant to be in this spot for that ore deposit. And that came from the same game save that square there came from. Because it was just... it was a lot better back then. I don't know why I'm instinctively going around that so I don't trigger the, hey, you've discovered a trader location. Two coal deposits over there and a nitrate over in this direction. I have not seen coal deposits like this and nitrate deposits like this since 2.1, maybe 2.2. I know 2.3 was pretty much desolate. I would load up 7 saves. I would survey this entire area here, and there would be nothing in 6 of the 7 saves, if not all 7. B6, 2.4 B6, I think. It got a lot better, but that was the point where I pretty much said to hell with this, and I grabbed that and placed it here. And just looking at this save, I see something there, I see something there, I see something there. There's something there. There was like that steel or iron rock right there, right up against the side of this prefab, because that's marking the corner of this prefab to that corner. So everything outside of that box, like that and that, is actually from this save. Everything in that box is a prefab from... I hesitate in saying 2.1 because a couple of these was more recent. And I have no idea how deep they go. That over there is the other half of this box here. One was on that side of the road, the other one was literally just across the way from it, and then you had that mess and that mess. It was just... I haven't seen good ore deposit density like that. And I mean, we've got this, which is a lot better than 2.3 was, and I see this over here, but it's like 7 and 6 ore deposits all inside that, you know. Yeah, 6 in there. 2 nitrate, 4 iron. This is far better here. Yeah, that. I think that's a coal right there. So, there's a new revision. I'm going to have to go do some soundings. Yeah, and up here, that catwalk going across looks way better than the flickery mess at 1080p. Downscaling for the win. Downscaling for the win until you give me multiple samples per pixel AA. So I'm happy with this, and I'm happy that the capture card is actually getting the full screen instead of just the top left corner. So I'm gonna call it there. Yeah, I see the Moria patterns. The only thing that's going to fix that is angling the samples a little bit versus the horizontal vertical on the screen and doing actual FSAA. But unfortunately, the AMD driver will only do that with DirectX 9 and older games, and that means anything as DirectX 12 is just kind of like tough luck, I guess. So I am very happy with this. It's working. So be cool, y'all.